Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Presley, and in this video today, I'm going to be giving you my review for Absolute Green Lantern Volume 1 Without Fear. Now, this book was published on December 9th, 2025 by DC Comics, and the writer on here is Al Ewing with artwork and colors by Janoy Lindsay, lettering by Lucas Gattoni, and I really dug this book. So I'm going to be breaking down this book based on a bunch of different criteria, and the first one is going to be artwork. Now, the artwork throughout this book I thought was absolutely fantastic. I had never heard of Janoy Lindsay before, but I think their artwork is fantastic. It is very manga-like, very anime-looking. I really adore the use of blurry backgrounds a lot of times, so you can focus on the characters in the foreground. It's very sketchy. I'm going to put a bunch of panels on screen now as I talk to show you. But yes, I thought this artwork was beautiful. I thought it fit the story great. I think it's super slick, but very sketchy. I adore it. I love the cartooniness of it, but I'm not saying it looks cartoony, but I love that whole very manga style. I think it looks great, and I haven't seen any DC books really do this. Overall, artwork is going to get a 5 out of 5 from me. Now, this is also due to the fact that I think the character design is great. Having Hal Jordan be kind of a little bit of a villainous figure throughout here, and seeing his character design in here not be the typical Green Lantern was great. I think Sojourner Malane's and John Stewart's character designs throughout here were amazing as well. I love the fact that they all look unique, and when they eventually join the different light levels, they all have these different costumes. It looks fantastic, and overall, yes, artwork is going to get a 5 out of 5. So the next section is world building, atmosphere, and mood. Now, I really dug the world building in this book. I love how it starts off with Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and he is kind of on his own. He's wandering, and he's coming out of the aftermath of something that happened in Nevada. I think it was great. I love the world building throughout here. It feels dangerous. We end up finding out what happens in Nevada, and when we go to Nevada, it feels very lived in. The community that they're in feels great. The mood in here is very tense, especially with the villain coming in here, Abin Sur, and later Hector Hammond. I think that they create a great atmosphere throughout here. I really felt a lot of the tension because this huge alien-like monster creature is invading their world. They have no idea what to do. They feel helpless. They feel powerless, and all they're doing is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I loved it. I thought the world building and the mood throughout here was great and very consistent from beginning to end. Even as our characters grow stronger, we still feel that sense of tension and dread throughout. I gave the world building a 4.5. Now for the story and the progression, I thought it was done really well. I was super invested in the story from the very beginning. We're trying to figure out what is wrong with Hal Jordan, why his entire arm is black, why this negative ring is talking to him. Sojourner Malane is trying to figure out her new powers. They're trying to figure out what happened with the invasion of Abin Sur and this big monolith that came down and destroyed this entire city. They're trying to figure out what's happening with this big dome. I loved it. I thought the story flowed really nicely. I love how John Stewart is kind of the detective one, the really smart one who's trying to figure out what's going on. And so he's progressing a lot of the intrigue forward because he's the one kind of figuring out new things about how gold can pass through the barrier, but nothing else. It's really interesting. The story kept me hooked. I think it'll keep you hooked as well. I like how it's a little bit of a mystery, but it's also kind of creepy at times. Overall, I give the story and progression of 5 stars out of 5. Now, as for the characters themselves, I think this is one of the strongest aspects of the entire book. Hal Jordan, Sojourner, and John are the main characters throughout here. I thought they were great together. I love their banter with one another. I love how they all fulfill the different roles. One of them is really intelligent. One of them is the more on edge, nervous one. Another one is a lot more level-headed. I thought it was great. I love their banter, and I also enjoy a lot of the side casts as well. Guy Gardner being throughout here as well. A lot of people living in Nevada, and even the people in the little diner at the beginning when Hal Jordan is there, they feel like real characters. They feel creeped out. They feel disturbed. They feel like they have no idea what's going on. They feel very natural. I thought Al Ewing did a great job writing these characters. And typically Hal Jordan and John Stewart are the main characters of a Green Lantern book. So I'm glad to see Sojourner Malane kind of stepping up as the main role throughout here. Overall, the characters throughout this book were great. I'm giving this section a 5 stars out of 5 as well. Now, as for the villain, Abin Sur was so incredibly cool. I'm going to put a picture on screen of him now, but I think his artwork is so cool looking. Not only that, but we find out later on as we go through the book that maybe he really isn't that much of a villain. Maybe he's just a symbol for what's to come for these characters. And we find the real villain later to be Hector Hammond, this really cocky, arrogant businessman. I thought both of these different villains were great because Abin Sur poses an unnatural, unknown threat, and Hector Hammond is this very weaselly corporate guy. So overall, I thought the villains out here were pretty good, and I really, really, really did dig both of their designs, especially Abin Sur's. I'm going to give villains in here a 4.75 stars. Now, finally, I just want to say before we close up this entire review, I dug this book. I really, really, truly did. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did. I even enjoyed it more than the Flash book. It's probably not going to be my top because I still think Batman is slightly better. But overall, Absolute Green Lantern was a huge surprise. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I love what they did with the whole levels of light thing. Red, yellow, orange, and red, yellow, green, and white. I thought it was super cool, and I'm really curious to see where they go from here. But overall, Volume 1 was one of the most surprising books that I've ever read because I was expecting to maybe give it a 4.5 or a 4, but you're going to see right now what I gave it. So overall, yes, if you could see on that screen right before me, I did give it a 5 stars. I enjoyed it too much. I thought it was really, really amazing. I thought it flowed beautifully. It was super surprising, and not only that, it was just a great time. I love the mystery throughout. I love the progression of the story. I thought it flowed beautifully. And if you like Green Lantern, I think you should definitely read this book. Even if you don't like Green Lantern, I think this is a really, really fun mystery, and we get to learn a lot more about their lore, and I'm excited to see where they go for Volume 2. With that being said, thank you so very much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read Absolute Green Lantern Volume 1. If you have, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Most importantly, what is your rating? Like you saw, I gave it a 5 stars out of 5. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend. Thank you so very much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much. I'll see you later.